thank you all for gathering with us today as we celebrate the life of Annie Mae Guillory. Annie Mae Landrino was born on February 22, 1942, and raised in Evangeline Parish, the eldest daughter, one of 10 children. As a teenager, she worked in the cotton fields while earning her high school diploma. She would often tell us stories about how she had to miss the first few weeks of school every year during the harvest. I learned early on that any complaints I might have about school would pale in comparison and likely fall on deaf ears. She married my father in 1960 and they settled in Morgan City, first welcoming a son, David, and a year later, their daughter, Stephanie. Following better opportunities, as is par for an oil-field family, the family moved to the West Bank and in 1972 welcomed the baby of the family, little Marky. As the children grew older and Annie grew restless, she worked at the neighborhood time saver, later deciding to attend nursing school. She became an LPN in the early 1980s and worked in a variety of healthcare settings and positions, most notably at Willowwood, Waldenburg Village Nursing Home in Algiers. She was known as Sarge, and we are unsure if this moniker was given to her or self-proclaimed. This much is certain, however. Annie never had any issue giving orders or direction to anyone. Her ability to take charge and that winning smile of hers was a combination that often led her to receive promotions to leadership positions on the nursing floor and left her beloved in the eyes of her patients. Annie retired from nursing around the time of her 70th birthday, but was still fielding calls to return to work as recently as last December, a testament to her reputation among her former employers. Now, we cannot talk about Annie without talking about May 28th, 1983, which is the day she lost her firstborn son, David. For anyone to overcome the loss of a child must be unbearably difficult. We all suffered that loss, and we still suffer that loss today. But Annie, she soldiered on, forever heartbroken over the loss of David, but always open-hearted to the rest of us. In her 30s, she was an avid softball player in league competition, where she pitched and played second base. As a base runner, a severe leg injury that occurred when she stepped into a hole in the field led to a lengthy and difficult recovery and likely ended her playing days. Certainly a devastating blow to such a talented athlete and fierce competitor. And we owe Stephanie, her beloved daughter, many thanks for helping her and aiding her in that recovery. After her married days were over, Annie enjoyed going out with her sisters and friends and rekindled her passion for dancing. Some of those sisters are here today. She became fiercely independent in these years, and while she had many suitors, she never remarried. Annie briefly lived in a camp at Lake Hermitage and absolutely loved to fish there and in and around the Port Sulphur area. There were many boat trips where she proudly returned, showing off the bounty that she had caught. It was at this camp where I first learned to clean fish, and Mama would often reward us all with a redfish coubillon that was certainly the finest ever served. She became a resident of Marrero in 1992 when, with the encouragement and support of the love of her life, Richard Husty, She purchased and renovated her first home of her own, a derelict HUD property. She was extremely proud of becoming a homeowner and the blood, sweat, and tears she put into transforming that shell of a house into her home. Her true loves, though, were her grandchildren. Her granddaughter Taylor was the first, followed almost 2 decades later by twin grandsons, Arlen and Cullen. She was especially close to all of them. Taylor resided with her for several years, and the twins live across the street from her, enabling them to visit often. There were many times when she would call and say, "Send the boys over, I have rice and gravy for them." Now, folks often question why I would buy the house across the street from my mother. And maybe I didn't know why until the boys came. And then I knew, because my grandmother lived so far away that I didn't get to see her nearly as often as I would like. And I never knew my grandparents on my father's side. So my boys got to live across the street from their grands. And that is the best gift to them and the best gift to her I could have ever given them. Gran, as she was known to them, was a fantastic cook, serving Cajun dishes that she had learned from her childhood and perfected as an adult. The grandchildren were particularly fond of her dirty rice dressing and her rice and gravy, made from whatever meat she had either roasting in the oven or simmering on the stovetop. Gran cooked not from a recipe book, but straight from her heart. Much like her own mother, she had a true passion for feeding others, and her love shone through in no greater way. Annie somehow willed herself to whip up a wonderful meal for her family this past Christmas, steadfastly refusing to let others provide our traditional meal we all offered. Unbeknownst to all of us, this was her parting gift to us, our last supper together as a family, with Gran as our matriarch. It was a meal to remember, to never forget her love and passion for us all. Thank you. We'll have a message from Pastor George McLean.